Hello and welcome to the Inbetween podcast. I'm your host Joe Scorn. I'm in Beans. Welcome, Tony. How are you?
You're in Beans.
I'm at Beans.
Oh my god. And this is why you can't be trusted with the beans. You're really spilling the beans.
I'm joined as usual by my host Tony Tones at RT. How's it going, Tony?
I'm doing pretty good. It's rained a lot after a long sunny spell.
Sunshiny day.
There's not been enough rain.
Rainy
That's what I'm
day.
gonna say.
That's true. It was really fucking hot in the UK. We've had like 2 heat waves. One was the hottest in the UK weather. Also, I just want to double point out the first heat wave was when Valve decided to host a VR festival. And then we had a second heat wave again in the UK, and it's just that fucking sore.
Wasn't as hot, but it was still very hot.
Well, as 2 AC owners, Tony, gotta say.
No, I'm still talking about outside. Like,
what were you doing outside?
I had to walk to the car.
What?
Bloody hot.
Did you at least turn the AC in the car on before you?
Oh yeah, it was bloody hot inside the car until it it was hot in the car for so long.
They have, I think in like Florida and stuff, in like really hot places, they just have like those solar shields they put on their windscreens to stop them.
Oh yeah. I absolutely could have gone.
We're not at that level yet.
Those.
You can't talk about like it being really hot weather without an Australian person coming in and going, "It's hot all the time down here, mate."
Yeah, so it's what I consider very warm in their winter normally. Although it also rains and like lots. I don't know what place you're talking about, but yeah. 40 degrees was too hot. 36 degrees was too hot, but not quite as bad.
Tony, you told me you had something to talk about in the intro, so
Oh yeah. I've been playing City Skylines again.
What?
I think looking at my saves.
Did you download Slow Down Your Computer mod? Do you remember that news story?
I already had that mod downloaded actually.
Okay.
So...
Yeah, but it was City Skylines, wasn't it? With the mod like slowed down competing mods, and it was like remote access and stuff like that. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was City Skylines, yeah, but it's only for like specific people, I think. And it's like really shady, and it's like it's been removed.
Really shady.
Yeah, but no, the first thing I had to do, Joe, was uninstall all my mods.
Unsubscribe from all.
I actually used that button. All 1,100 mods were uninstalled.
Did you use? Can you unsubscribe from all without a third-party extension?
Yeah, it's on Steam.
Right. Okay.
It takes a while. I think as well, like it doesn't know when it's done because like I refreshed and it's like, oh yeah, we're done. It's like, why are you saying like waiting still? Like, oh, I don't know. I think it took a while to like calculate what I need to remove from my computer though. That took a lot longer.
Okay, well there it is.
But yeah, I still installed a few mods though. I still got plans to install more, but I was saying now I'm definitely at the limit of what my old computer can handle. As that limit playing with it like vanilla, like DLC without mods, but I'm definitely at the limit now.
Well, I've got a bit of a wheel update.
Wheel update? You got some wheels.
I said I should do a tangent on the wheel because I talk about it just randomly, but I don't think I've ever sat down and explained the wheel.
The wheel of the worst?
The wheel of the worst. Some of these games are so fucking weird, I don't know what they are from Epic. I spin a wheel every time I want to play a game because my game library's got so large that I'm hit by analysis paralysis where I just don't know which game to pick from my Steam library because it's just so fucking massive. So I just make a short list of games I'm interested in, and then I spin a wheel, and then whatever the wheel decides, then I play. I thought it'd be a really interesting experiment if I just asked all of my good friends to pick a game that they wanted me to play. And I did not give them any more direction than that, other than saying it had to be completable in some way, and I had to own it. Those are the only things that I said that it had to be.
Right.
Because I had, Tony, you'll love to hear this, a friend tried to recommend me Space Engineers, to which I said...
You love to hear it.
You can't complete Space Engineers, so what the hell would I do?
I mean, there are scenarios, I suppose, but like, you'd like to complete one scenario in Space Engineers won't take you that long, so...
It would take me 20 years, I think.
Maybe.
But the thing I found was just quick statistics, just before we go on the podcast to do anything else. A lot of people seem to overwhelmingly recommend open world games.
Yeah.
People seem to recommend games that they really liked or interested in. I only had 2 arseholes so far of people trying to recommend.
Which category am I in?
You're in the category I like, where you just pick something random, because that's exactly what I would have done. I would have just picked something like completely fucking random, just be like, "Hey, this looks interesting. Try this."
Well, I feel like if you're gonna spin a wheel, like, isn't it like time to go through the games that you've never played before, like didn't even know existed?
Yeah,
that's how I feel. That's how I did my wheel. So
as I was creating the wheel, I was like, when I spin the wheel, everybody gets something. The thing about a wheel is it's also gambling. So we need odds and we need stuff at stake. So people will cheer when their game comes, and they'll be upset when their game doesn't get picked. So I was playing Tower Unite Casino, where you have the Wheel of Money, and on the Wheel of Money you can spin nothing, and that's really bad because you put credits into the machine to spin it, right?
yeah.
Respinning the wheel doesn't mean anything, which is why I came up with the idea of the wild card. Now, the wild card is a random game in my actually I should just put the wheel on. It's weird. The wild card is a random game that I've told a bot to select from my Steam library, and I'll just play that. I have no idea what it is. So this is another Tony classic, another Tony wild card, but just not from Tony. And,
it's not hasn't got my name attached to it.
So just quick statistics. Seems to be open world in the open world games. Well reviewed games. I don't think there's a single. Most of the games are from post 2010. I would say most of them.
Aren't all of them? What's one is?
No, so XII I think it's from 2003.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I forgot.
Then Bully. It's an older game. Bully came out in the early 2000s.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, but it seems like lots of people recommend newer games. Because I might, if somebody asked me to recommend a game, I might just go, "Hey, try playing Thief from 1998. Like, see how play Doom, play Quake. Just try something
old." In their defense, though, that's something you played recently, and
I think it's fantastic. I think it's like genuinely Thief is a fantastic game to play right now.
Yeah. I just think for a lot of people, like they're thinking of like games they've played recently, and like so it's always going to be post 2010s.
Yeah.
And also, I think a lot of people were console players when they were young.
And so we got Vietnam Wave on here. We've got Wrestling That. I've asked my brother. I don't know if he's seen my message yet, but I'm going to try and get Danny to recommend me another game. The last time he recommended me a game for the podcast, it was Doki Doki Literature Club, which I played on stream for Halloween, and I quit. So I was like, "Fuck this shit! I'm not playing this anymore."
We didn't we put like half an hour into it? Like we were sitting through the text. It was like, what the hell is this?
There was too much fucking text.
Like there wasn't enough. Like there should have been text and like things to do right. In my opinion, I think, too much text.
I was playing Neon White recently, which is a game that has a bunch of anime garbage text in it, and that game lets you skip it all. It's just like, this is optional. You can just skip this all. I'm like, good. I sat through like all of the dialogue that I hadn't played from the demo just because I was curious, like if it got any better. Just skip all the dialogue. It's not what the game's about. It's all fucking awful.
The dialogue that I had, I didn't mind it too much, but yeah, that's fair. I think it's fair.
You're also a Chinese cartoon enjoyer.
That is true. Anyway. Not well. From time to
time. So should we move on to trailers or anything else you want to talk about?
No. I forgot to mention about Cities Guy and stuff. Why I was trying to play it again. I found a YouTube channel. This is 2 weeks ago now. That started 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I found they're called Just Bikes.
Not Just Mike.
Bikes.
Oh, okay.
They're basically just like explaining like why, like how I can see like Amsterdam's like how it currently works, like how it used to be like they had cars down streets, and then like 30 years, I think it's 30 years, maybe 20 years ago, started changing it. to be like everywhere is like walkable, or like using public transport through with bikes, or just
Yeah.
actually just walking. And it's like,
Because
oh, that's a really cool concept.
you were curious about using a e-bike, so I went out on my
Yes.
pedal bike, and you went out on my old like big Dutch e-bike sort of thing.
Yeah. Dutch style, such a bike, minus the reversing pedal braking.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it was a very Dutch bike.
You
Yeah,
thought it was all right.
yeah, it was good. I think I would probably go more leisurely than I did, to
Hmm.
be honest, especially up the hills. Like I think not used to hill pedaling at all.
Yeah. Most
But no,
people
it was good.
you give them an e-bike and they're just like wee, and they just like whiz off, like just completely. But I
Yeah.
think you were taking it more like practical
I
effects.
was really thinking about it, like in terms of because I was really considering. I still am actually like considering like as like a mode of transport to work instead of car,
Yeah.
just
But
because like the
you
miles per kilowatt hour is so much better on a bike.
I think it was like a good idea, but probably considering that you have like an electric car at home that's not being used, it probably would just make sense to
Yeah,
use that instead.
but there are other benefits of using it. Like it is like free exercise, like in the morning and like in the evening, which I wouldn't otherwise get. Is what I was like. I still like why I'm still thinking about it. So I don't know. Like I'm still considering it, but yeah, but it's like all this is kind of like this, like the same sort of thought. Like it's like all like combined into one. As like this guy I found talking about walkable city. He says like he uses a bike in Amsterdam all the time. It's just like, oh yeah, and it's like, so I've just been thinking about this, and it's like, you know what, I'll build it in City Skylines because that sounds like because like City Skylines simulates like a lot of these problems. Like when I play City Skylines, like I get to a point where it's just like there's just so many cars, and like I have to like redesign the roads. So I've done like a test city before like my main idea because like I haven't played it in so long, I can't remember like how you make money and things. And I was also I was going about it in like a completely different way. Like I made my almost all my industry is like farming, so like very low income compared to like a normal factory. So I was just messing around with that,
You're
and
going for the green city.
yeah. So I
Well,
went for
you
like fully green. Before in the past, what I've done, like I started with coal and like then phased out of coal once I got more money. This time I was like, no, let's just start with wind turbines and see how it goes. Definitely a struggle from time to time,
but you wanted
but
to you were struggling with City Skyline recently because you wanted to upgrade your computer, your CPU, and your motherboard and
Yeah,
RAM.
so so when I first loaded the map, I'm at like my CPU is pegged at 40%. When I start moving around and looking around, it's very spiky, of course. But like when I'm actually doing something, like probably averages about 70%. And then it's like it has like these massive spikes every now and again.
When you have like
And
lots
then
of simulation, it's very CPU
yeah,
intensive.
also, what I found is now that I've got mods on, like it was kind of doing this before, but like it was not as bad because like it was vanilla. But now there's like more assets for it to like have to stream and like load in. I think it's overwhelming like how much RAM and like access from RAM to CPU, and it's like then forcing it to go to the hard drive, even though I've got RAM left. I don't really know what's going on, but it's definitely accessing the hard drive to do stuff, and like I then have like these big pauses, like every half an hour I have like this big pause, and it's like, oh, this is
I'd
kind of
be curious
awful.
to see what you think of the new Cities VR game. It'd
Mm.
be
I'm
interesting.
I don't
It's a
know. I
Quest
think it'd be interesting to
exclusive,
get
right?
perspective.
It's a
Yeah,
it's
I
a
think so.
yeah, it's an Oculus Quest exclusive, right? Yeah.
My thing what I'd say to that is like I think the novelty of like being able to like look around, like the perspective from see like a model village sort of thing, right? I think would be very good. But I feel like for me, I get a lot out of just like logistics and planning and like trying to get all to look good like into like in pancake mode. So for me, like I think I just find it annoying. But I don't know. I'm willing to try it out for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I've been doing in City Skylines though. Like, I need to get mods and stuff because at the moment it's still like City Skylines is very road centric, and
Yeah.
like I need like more mods and like more. There's like weird issues. Like the wind turbines are like too small in my opinion. Like, and I wish I could put them in the middle of fields, and I can't. It's just like lots of small
More
things I need to
trees
fix.
mod.
Yeah, I need to get more trees. I need to get Oh, what was the other thing? There's something else I needed. Oh, like better waste management stuff and more train stuff and like more roads for like cycling to like have more integrated. So that's kind of what I'm looking at the moment.
You
So lots
you,
of small things.
you've seen this bike channel, and now
Yeah.
you want to make the Netherlands and City Skylines.
Yeah, yeah, because there's this guys that talk about city planning and zoning and stuff like that, and it's like, oh, I'll try it out in Cities Skylines. And it's like, yeah, I had a lot of fun. Like, this is the first time ever like I started doing trains properly in my test save, and it's
Right.
like, oh, I was having quite a lot of fun. Very expensive to set up, but like I like trains are great. I really like trains, and like being able to see trains move around was great, and seeing them actually doing work was great. And I got
Wanna
trams and stuff.
you wanna go into trailers now?
Yeah, yeah.
The first trailer up we have is Crypt of the Necrodancer Synchrony up DLC, plus Rift of the Necrodancer standalone game announcement. So the Synchrony DLC adds multiplayer to Crypt of the Necrodancer,
Oh,
which is pretty cool. And then there's also 3 new characters, um, full mod support, new weapons, new items, new enemies, and more. So this looks pretty cool. So I'm in two minds of Crypt of the Necrodancer. One, I'm like, this looks really cool and interesting, and then the mind,
yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how I feel. I still don't know how I feel about rhythm games.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at with this.
I'd be
Oh,
very curious to try that. I think I'm
yeah,
more inclined to try something when it's multiplayer, even when it shouldn't be multiplayer, like Superliminal, which really shouldn't
yeah,
have been a multiplayer game.
yeah.
Next up, we have Vikings on Trampoline. They've got a brand new game from the creators of Owlboy.
Oh,
Um,
owl boy.
and the way this one works is pretty interesting. So it is Vikings on trampolines. That's how you move about and progress. It's a 4-player pixel art co-op adventure, like platforming sort of game.
Yeah.
And then it also can be played as a competitive party game style multiplayer mode as well.
Okay.
So it's either like a co-op adventure game, but there's also like Mario Party style game mode as well. So it's like 2 games in one. Because when I watched the trailer,
Yeah.
I was really fucking confused. It wasn't until like I actually looked into it and was like, okay, this looks like a co-op game, but it also looks like a Mario Party style game. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Um,
Did owl boy ever sell well in the end? Like, I feel like it took like
I think it was like an
is
indie. Yeah, I think it's very well reviewed. I haven't
it's
played
like but did it ever like hit mainstream sales?
Owlboy's a game. I'm like, I swear I talked about this and was like, this
Yeah.
looks really cool, and then just completely forgot about it. I
It
never
even
purchased
has
it,
a
never
demo.
played it.
It even has a demo. It's crazy.
Well, Tony, I could.
I think it was last Christmas. Like I think I looked at it and I was like, wait, I don't own Owlboy yet, and I was like, I still don't. Like, so it's much one of
The
those
most
games, I
recent
suppose.
review for it is this: the idea of Owlboy is nice until you start playing it. So many bad game decisions. Ow.
I don't know. People I trust like on YouTube for it. Like I've seen reviews of it and like, oh, okay,
Well,
this is actually pretty good.
I'm a huge fan of platformers, and I'm a huge fan of retro games. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll definitely give it a try. I've put it on my wish list again
Do you
because I
think
cleaned
this
out my
new
wish
game
list ages
has?
ago.
Do you think this new game has party elements that maybe get more sales though? Because I still feel like
Hmm.
try and entice more people, kind of like expanding
I
the
would
appeal.
probably be more likely to pick this up because it also has the multiplayer element and picking up with a couple of friends to play like the Mario
Yeah,
Party style stuff. I think it's a good idea, but it's
I think a
also
lot of people like that, right?
I think it's bad for engagement in the game when I look at the trailer and go, I don't understand what this is.
Yeah,
That's not great. But I think Owlboy has some dope ass visuals. Like the pixel art's really
I
cool because that I can tell you just by looking at it.
yeah, the visuals
Um,
are really good.
and next time Owlboy goes on sale, I'll pick it up and then I'll play it because man, I love platformers. Like I've said recently, like I think I may not like open world games, and then people will go, "But Joe, you love platformers," and I'm like, the big difference is moving platformers moving from A to B is like the game. That's really fun.
Yeah,
where in a lot of open world games, moving from A to B is not the game, and then checking things off a list is the game. And I'm like, that should not be the way around it is. There should be something interesting either in the traversal or the destination. You either need to make the journey fun, or you need to make the destination fun. And if it's neither, then what's the point of the game?
Or you do some, or you have open world for like, you have a reason for it in some way.
Anyway, let's move on to the next.
There's sightseeing as well.
The next trailer. Again, I won't talk about mods usually until they get a release date, but Half-Life 2 VR is going into public beta. So if you don't know, there is a mod team working on bringing the original Half-Life 2 to full hand-tracked room-scale VR. And they are launching it in September. It is very close. Next month, this will be out. So I think this one has a Steam page, or at least will have a Steam page. They are in communication with Valve. But basically they've said, hey, we've tested this out with a bunch of beta testers. We think it's in a state where it's ready to play. But we haven't heard back from approval from Valve for the Steam release. So what we're going to do is we're just basically going to release it, probably through their website or ModDD or something like that. And then... I love the laser on the 9mm pistol, like in Half-Life Alyx attachment you can get. That's a good touch. I think it's a good idea just to, people who want to play this, just immediately release it through your website. And then if you get the go-ahead from Valve to do the Steam release, good idea. That will get a lot more people through to play it. Because there was... when VR first came out, you could just load up a Vive on your head and then just play through Half-Life 2 with it, but the problem was it was still you either controlling it with a mouse and keyboard or a controller.
So the hand tracking was like a whole
didn't have hand tracking, no room scale. It was very much a ceased experience.
Which is a bit confusing, I suppose.
It was possible to play it through in Gary's mod, use the VR mod through Gary's mod, and that was sort of a okay experience, but it was nowhere near as good as like what this mod seems like, or like Alyx's, in terms of like VR features. But this seems really cool. It seems a lot more feature complete than Half-Life 1 VR mod I've played, I can tell you that for sure. The Half-Life 1 VR mod is not great. At least the one I played. I didn't play the Dr. Beef, the quest port, like side quest port of Half-Life 1. I played the PC VR version of Half-Life 1, and that is very much still in beta. That is like in alpha sort of thing. Like it's very much not ready, but yeah, that's coming out, and I'm going to play it. I don't know when. Probably when it stops being so goddamn hot.
In October, yeah, not September.
Yeah. Just Weird VR Game of the Week. Oh, the Among Us VR beta came up, and I signed up to it. So hopefully. I talked about last week there was no VR games that I wanted to play apart from Among Us VR, and I actually got the opportunity to sign up to the Among Us VR playtest, so hopefully I'm going to play Among Us VR early. I can't wait. Tony, I'm so hyped to play Among Us VR. It is...
Yeah?
I kept hammering home to you that I'm not joking.
Yeah!
Not that it's not just the only VR game coming out, because there's none that aren't like PSVR and Quest exclusives, but also I think it could be insanely fun in the same way that just loading up into random lobbies in Gorilla Tag is insanely fun.
Yeah, I think I need to be explained like what the appeal of like doing like the tasks and like going around and like sussing people in VR, like why VR improved that. But I think I sort of understand now. I think I still want to see it like in action before deciding. But yeah,
well, I know it's going to be like it's being handled by Shell Games, and I have a lot of faith in Shell Games. So
okay,
because they've done like I Expect You to Die 1 and 2 and stuff like that. Like they've worked on some really cool games. So
yeah.
Let's move on to quick news. Tony, Doom is now playable on a tractor.
Wait, what? I haven't seen this.
I added this today. So somebody's got the Doom running on a John Deere tractor display. It's been broken and rooted, and they've also installed the tractor mod for Doom as well, where you drive around a John Deere tractor killing enemies.
I always forget like modern tractors are like teched out. Like they're expensive things, right? Like very expensive. This is crazy to me. Like I thought. Wait, I thought John Deere tractors had like
So
lockdown firmware and
apparently,
software.
there was a New Zealand-based Doom modder, Skelligan, who helped set this up. She helped get this running by using DHack Doom. Since GZ Doom was a mission together, we teamed up to make this happen. It's so interesting, like how easy to use GZ Doom is. Just as an aside, like I was playing Wolfenstein 3D recently, and my friend Luke was like, "Oh, I used to play this game called Hexen, which runs on the Doom engine, and he loads up the Steam version, and it's like a DOSBox port, and he has to use arrow keys to turn. And I was like, if it's Doom based, just down. I was like, literally just sent him GZ Doom. I was like, download GZ Doom and just drop the WAD into GZ Doom, and it should just run perfectly, and it just did. I was like, yep, that's GZ Doom.
Just use GZ Doom.
Yeah, what was I playing? The Golden Souls 3, which is like a platforming mod for Doom 2 on GZ Doom. But anyway, this is really, really cool.
I don't know if you've seen like the go back to the more tractor thing other than the Doom thing, tendering into tractors.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've seen like a lot of farmers are unhappy with John Deere. I don't know if you've seen that.
I have no idea why. Fill me in.
Okay, well, say their tractor breaks down and they need to like try and get it working. Sometimes
is it proprietary thing of John Deere or?
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's like an Apple thing where they've completely locked down the firmware. Like, and like if you even try to change it, they're like legal action will be like formed against you, and they're just farmers. They don't have that sort of money. So it's like they're all there's kind of like a boycott and a revolt being like opposed like against other than that like people like John Deere hardware, like they're good products, but like they lock down the firmware so you can't use software to try and like fix your own stuff. So I'm just wondering, is it like maybe this was it a similar time to that?
They wall it off unless you bring it to DEF CON and hack it to play Doom with a tractor.
Yeah.
And speaking of mod Doom news, id Software has consolidated its Steam listings. So they're rounding up id games on Steam for an improved shopping experience. Usually what happens, if any game was delisted from a store page, I would say this is bad. But I actually think this is a really good idea. So what they're doing is they're making the launches more consolidated because it was really fucking confusing. Like which Doom game was which Doom game went with which. So Tony, you'll love to hear this. Ultimate Doom, or just Doom now, is called Doom 1993. So you do not confuse it with Doom 2016 or Doom Eternal.
Well, the thing is, they should have named Doom 2016 something else, but that's just me apparently.
So Doom 2. So if you don't know, Tony, Doom 2 had a separate launcher, which also had. So there was Final Doom, and there was the master levels for Doom 2, and these were separate. Right. These were separate launchers. So the master levels were separate, and Final Doom was essentially just more Doom 2 levels. But separately. So what they've done is. Because I already own them, so because they've consolidated this, I can still launch them separately if I want to. But because I had Doom 2 installed, I got to see the update. So now what will happen is you just take Doom 2, download it, and then you can choose whether you want to play Doom 2, if you want to play Final Doom, you want to play Master Levels.
Okay, so if you only bought one of them, you're kind of getting more stuff then.
Yeah, because I think so they've also consolidated the bundles as well to make it. So I'll just go through the changes. So Doom 3 has been consolidated into one package, because if you don't remember, there was a whole debacle of there's Doom 3 and then there's the Doom 3 BFG edition. Some people say Doom 3 original has way better atmosphere and stuff like that. Doom 3 BFG edition has like better, software rendering or features or whatever, right? What they've done is they've merged it into one package, so you can just choose if you want to play the original or BFG edition. If you only owned Doom 3 or Doom BFG edition like I did, you've got the other one for free, basically.
Wasn't there a time where you couldn't get the non-BFG edition? Sure. Or was that in a different game? I'm thinking of.
I don't know, but I've been upgraded for free to having Doom 3 Original. So.
Yeah, if it is this game, then that's pretty great. That I should just get it. I swear at the time you couldn't.
Quake 2 has been consolidated to have its expansions and mission packs merged into one launcher, which I think, seeing how good the treatment is of Quake 1 at night, I've been playing Quake recently. It's fucking awesome, and the way they consolidate all those games is really, really fucking good, and it really makes me upset when I play Wolfenstein 3D, and I'm like, this is all over the fucking place. We need a night dive port of this. But yeah. Quake 3 Arena, so Quake 3 Arena and Quake 3 Team Arena have been merged into one, and then they've removed Quake 3 Arena demo, Quake 3 Team Arena demo that just nobody's playing, like, such an old game sort of thing. Like, it was just confusing people what they actually were. So the Doom Classic Bundle, when you bought the Doom Classic Bundle, you would get Ultimate Doom, Final Doom, Doom 2, Master Levels for Doom 2, Doom 3, Doom 3 BFG Edition, and it was just like, what? But now it's just Doom 1, Doom 2, Doom 3, Doom 64.
Oh, okay.
Way simpler! Way simpler.
I think I can understand that one.
Quake Collection is now Quake 1, Quake 2, Quake 3, Quake Live, Quake 4. Way simpler.
Okay. Yeah, good.
So, yeah, but So I think consolidation is a good thing. I think it is a good idea to delist these titles, but then consolidate them into one launcher. I think that's a great idea.
If you're giving more people, or giving people who only bought one of them more stuff is definitely the way to go.
So one thing I've been playing Wolfenstein 3D recently. They launch as DOSBox through Steam. Both Wolfenstein 3D and Spear of Destiny launched through DOSBox. I really wish they gave them at least the Doom treatment. Hopefully the Quake treatment of getting that sweet, sweet night dive port. But yeah. It's also really confusing because if you want to play the mission packs for Spear of Destiny, which I would never recommend anyone to do, you have to launch them like separately through Spear of Destiny, which I'm sure like most people don't even know is a Wolfenstein prequel to Wolfenstein 3D. Yeah, I think they should have gone. I think they should have put Wolf 3 in this list as well. But I think But QuakeCon's real soon. Gamescom and QuakeCon are really soon, so we're going to see some really interesting stuff from Quake, hopefully. Wolfenstein, hopefully, as well, and maybe Doom as well. So hopefully we get some more cool id stuff. I fucking love Boom and Doomsday. This shit is great.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Halo 2 streamer claims $20,000 prize after beating Near Impossible Challenge. I told you about this recently. Moist Critical put out a bounty on beating so if you don't understand, Lasso is the idea of beating legendary All Skulls On, which is there's skulls in Halo which make the game harder. So there's like the Famine Skull, which means you get less ammo. There's the what's another one? There's like another skull that will just completely remove your HUD. There's there's ones where the Iron Skull, where if you die in single player, you get reset back to the start of the mission. If you die in co-op, you go back to the previous checkpoint. Is how that works. Because me and my friends have beat Halo Reach on Lasso, and we tried Halo 3, I think, and we beat like one mission, and then we're like, fuck this shit. Like it takes like hours to beat one mission with Lasso on. It's really, really fucking hard. No joke. The fact that we beat Reach was impressive in itself. But Halo 2 is probably the hardest Halo game. And if you don't, just to put it in perspective, all the legendary campaigns on Halo have no skulls on them. Halo 2 has the Iron Skull, which resets you to the start of the mission or resets your last checkpoint by default. So you have the Iron Skull on Legendary by default on like Halo 2. Like me and my friend Andy tried to play through it, and we were just like, let's play this through on Heroic. Let's not play this on Legendary. Like it's we might as well be playing on Lasso at this point. But the challenge was there was one skull in Halo 2 called the Envy Skull. And the Envy Skull lets Master Chief turn invisible at will. So if people have never played Halo 2 out there, half the time playing Halo 2, you play as Arbiter, and one of the Arbiter's abilities, instead of having the flashlight, you press a button and you turn invisible. That's like his ability. You get behind people, use energy swords and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think it's very funny. It's called the Envy Skull because it would suggest that John Sheff himself is envious of the Arbiter for being able to turn invisible. But it's one.
Wouldn't you be?
It's the one skull, but with this skull, which lets you turn invisible at will, it had a unlimited timer for the Master Chief version, whereas on the Arbiter missions, it would have a limited timer. It would like count down. So this skull actually made it easier.
Right.
So, for this challenge, you had all skulls on, but they took out the Envy Skull, which made it just really fucking hard. And there's basically only one person who's been able to do it so far, and I think it took him a long time. I think his next challenge he said he was going to do is he was going to try and lasso like the entire series sort of thing.
Okay.
But I think, yeah, it was really, really cool to see on live
How
stream.
long has this bounty been out for?
I think maybe a month or two, something like that.
So not too bad then. The grand scheme of things, that's a hell of a long time still, but it wasn't truly impossible.
No, it
Just
wasn't
very,
really
very,
impossible.
very, very difficult.
Anyway, but yeah, the guy's like a Halo speedrunner, and he holds like a lot of the records for speedrunning Halo. So it's cool to see like a big Halo pro come in and win it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Time Splitters 2 Redux mod. Tony, you remember that there's a Homefront: The Revolution has a completely playable and working Time Splitters 2 PC port for 2 levels of Time Splitters 2 in it that you have to play through Homefront: The Revolution to get to?
Yep, I do remember that.
Someone's made a mod that makes the entirety of Time Splitters playable, lets you launch directly to Time Splitters 2, so you just get rid of having to go to the menu of Homefront: The Revolution. You can just completely ignore it and just launch straight into it.
Oh, nice.
It even lets you delete all of the Homefront files and just keep the Time Split files. It makes the download size of the game go from like 40 gigabytes to like 2 gigabytes.
Nice.
If you wanted to save space, but yeah. I installed this recently. I was streaming this to you. I've never played Time Splitters 2. But Homefront: The Revolution was on sale, and I was curious, so I got it and I tried it out. And I was like, "This is pretty interesting." It reminds me a lot of GoldenEye immediately.
Yeah.
Heavy GoldenEye kind of game because I had never played Time Splitters, obviously, so this is my only frame of reference. Because people are probably like, "Well, you know, GoldenEye and Time Splitters came out about the same time, probably, and they're very similar." But yeah, cool game. I think I'm going to try and play it a bit more later. See what else. There's only like 8 missions or something, but I was getting very confused of what I was supposed to be doing. The controls are a bit odd. Because it's a PC port, it has mouse and keyboard controls, but it's not like fully supported on-screen controls. It still showed in like controllers. I wasn't able to click certain buttons. There's definitely still bugs with this, and it could be a lot smoother, but it is a very playable Time Splitters 2 PC port. Which is really cool to see. Koch Media has changed their name to Plaion. Oh, sorry, Plaion. It's apparently pronounced Plaion, not Plaion.
Plaion?
Tony, apparently people have been mispronouncing Koch Media this entire time.
What?
Yeah.
It's pronounced Koch Media.
So, which I find really funny that we always call it Koch Media, and everyone always calls it Koch Media, but it's a German brand. They even made a video of how to pronounce Koch Media around the world. Let's just watch this quickly. Koch. And finally,
what you don't say is
Koch. But yeah, I thought that video was so funny that they literally were like, No one can pronounce our name. They keep calling it Koch Media. We've got to rename. I knew it wasn't called Koch Media. I just kept saying it anyway because I found it so funny. But they've renamed themselves to Plaion, which I'm going to keep calling Plaion.
I'm gonna go Plaion.
Plaion?
No, Plaion.
Plon? They've renamed themselves to another, like, obviously not as bad as Koch Media, but it's kind of a hard to pronounce name still. I guess Germans are just built differently.
Yeah, well, I read it like AI is like Play, like
yeah.
Like it could be A as well, like Aeon, Ion, but I read it as like Ion, like the game, right? So like I read this as Plaion. But yeah, like those two layers combined are very different in like the same language, like the multiple differences that it can be, and like in multiple different regions, like across like Europe. So it's like, yeah, you could have chosen a better name.
But if you're like, oh, Koch Media sounds kind of familiar, they're like a subsidiary of THQ Nordic or Embracer Group.
Well, I call them just THQ.
THQ,
because I'm pretty sure they now own all the rights to THQ. They just refuse to change.
Yeah. But yeah. Next up, we have Steam news. Oh, Steam has finally added the Add to Library button without needing to start the installation process. It's finally happened, guys. You don't have to install a game to add it to your library. So if a game is one of those games where it's like free to claim, it's free to play, but you want to put it in your library.
Or it's free to play and it's paid DLC. You've got a Humble Bundle.
DLC, you don't have to install the base game to add DLC to your library. This is really, really cool to see. I was literally using this the other day because I was like, this is a free-to-play game that I want to play, but not right now. I'm going to add this to my library and put it in one of my collections to say, hey, this is something I want to play. Then you don't, Tony, you don't have to put free-to-play game on your wish list anymore. You can just add it to your library.
Yeah, that's great. I still might add it to my wish list though.
Okay. No, it does. Next up, we have Dead by Daylight news.
Wait, an entire section for Dead by Daylight news. What's going on?
There's been a lot of Dead by Daylight news.
Okay.
But quickly, this kind of related to Dead by Daylight just because I'm making it relate to Dead by Daylight. The number one thing, Tony, I've said is Dead by Daylight is the ultimate crossover horror game. My number one requested killer for Dead by Daylight would be a bunch of gremlins from the film Gremlins that just go around killing people with knives. That would be so awesome if you could just control this giant pile of gremlins attacking people. The dream might be dead, Tony. Multiversus Leap reveals that Gremlist antagonist Stripe is coming to brawl in Multiversus. He's being added to the Warner Bros. Smash Brothers. I find this game...
What?
Go on.
That's where it should be. That's a troll comment. I just find it funny. Can it only be in one and not like both? Is it there to only be in one?
No. It depends on the company. So when I saw Resident Evil was making their own like Dead by Daylight competitor, I can't remember the game's fucking called, to be honest with you, because no one remembers. They unlisted it from Steam so nobody could see the reviews.
Yeah.
Resident Evil.
Is it attached to another game? Even though it's
you have to buy Resident Evil 3 or 2.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember what it's called. Nobody does. It's a hidden game.
It doesn't matter.
Resident Evil bundle game.
Just search Resident Evil Dead by Daylight. You'll definitely get what you want.
No, because it'll give you the actual Dead by Daylight bundle.
Yeah.
Okay, Resident Evil 2.
Wasn't it one of the weird not actual Resident Evil games? It was I can't remember what they're called, Chronicles or something.
I don't even
the ones with co-op in.
Look at my Steam library. Reverse! Is this the one? Resistance! No. Reverse is the Resident Evil 3 one. So if you have this in your library, guys, you realize that it's actually hidden from anyone being able to see it because it's mostly negative. So when I saw they made this, which is like a DVD, basically like a DVD clone, I was like, oh god, they're never adding Resident Evil to Dead by Daylight. Then they did. So there's still hope for Gremlins Killer in Dead by Daylight. One of my favorite.
Coming to Smash first.
Yeah, it's coming to Smash first, guys. Oh, one thing I want to point out: Multiverse is insanely popular right now. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
That was like because we had Nickelodeon All Star Brawl, which was popular for like a week, and then everyone forgot it existed and went down to like 30 players.
Yeah.
I think one of the two big differences was huge push from Twitch streamers and influencers and YouTubers. Massive marketing budget for multiverses. Number two, free to play. I think those are the two massive differences between the games.
Isn't there a Warner Brothers versus thing coming out soon?
That's what I'm talking about. Multiverses.
Oh, okay. Is that just called Multiverses? Is
yeah.
It? Okay.
But the big news from Dead by Daylight, specifically Tony, is Project W. There's another Resident Evil DLC coming to Dead by Daylight, which will feature the killer Wesker, one of my personal favorite Dead by.
I like how he's the killer.
One of my personal favorite Resident Evil characters.
I can't wait to see what they do with Wesker.
Survivors Ada Wong, one of my personal favorite Resident Evil characters. Yep.
Okay.
And also Rebecca Chambers as well. It's another Survivors. I hope she has that hacking gun. She does in. I don't actually know Rebecca Chambers. I think she was in. Okay, she was in the original Resident Evil game and Resident Evil 0, so that's why I don't know her. So I haven't played those.
Who's in 3?
Resident Evil 3. That is Jill. I think.
Jill, that was it.
And Carlos as well. Favorite characters. You got the Jill sandwich.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool. I'll pick that up at some point when I get back. The thing about Dead by Daylight is that there is like a ton of DLC. But I'm just like, I'll just wait until I stop playing the game again. It goes on sale. So I don't need to, get all the DLC sort of thing. Until I start like actively playing it again. So this was like the big news from Behavior Interactive. So Dead by Daylight, Behavior Interactive, they're making new games, and the big one they announced was Meet Your Maker. So this is like a base building raiding game. So the idea was you're going to switch between building a base and then randomly raiding other people's bases. So that all of the content in the game will be like user created. So the idea is Fortnite Save the World, guys. I've just realized it's Fortnite Save the World. You're building a base with traps to stop people from getting into it. I mean, that's not fun. Would you be interested in this, Tony? Like base building, like on a big scale, like traps and stuff to stop people getting in. Like,
I would say that I've actually tried games like this.
What games have you tried?
I can't remember what it's called. Like, obviously, it's like nowhere near like big scale as this, but it just, in my experience, they don't really.
The big game that this reminds me of, obviously it doesn't have, I'm not going to say have the same elements as it, but the big game this reminds me of is Rust. The idea of building a base and other people raiding it.
I can't remember what the game is. There's another game that I was interested in, like around the same sort of time. I didn't play, but I think I watched someone, not Total Biscuit, but like I saw like those sort of people play. No, okay, so like something like Dungeon Keeper, right? Where you make a dungeon to like stop people coming in. Like you have like this immediate thing, like you have like this like sort of like the story of the game, like the persistence of the game, like trying to like push stuff for you.
Yeah.
Like what I want to know is like for these sorts of games, like what push do you have from that? Like, do you get anything from other people coming to your game? Like, how does that work?
I would assume so. I mean, I think we all have very little details about like how this game is going to work, sort of thing.
I just find the games like this that I've played or like have seen, like they reward people playing the game, like going to someone else's map, but not so much the other way around. Which then means there's no point for people to make the map unless
Yeah,
they
so
only
this
care about the
is
reviews.
so this is like something that I've seen people bringing up. They're saying like either the tools to build stuff need to be really good, or you
Yeah,
just need a really active community of people who want to build maps.
yeah,
And another problem is if there's one way to build a base that's really effective and you get huge rewards from defending your base, then people
yeah.
will just might gamify it and just go, right, this is the correct way to build a base, and there'll only be
Because
one base you ever go into.
to me, it's like this is like a game. It's like, oh, it's like this will appeal to everyone. People who like base building like me, and people who like playing maps like you. But like, I feel
Yeah.
like in practice, really happens that you just get a game
I
for
think you
no
get.
one.
I think you either focus on one too much and you get a game for one set, or you get a game for no one. Yeah. I mean
No,
the
no. I think even if you have both, like if you have incorrect incentives, you will eventually get to like, a meta where it's just not fun for anyone. Like I think they're just like you have to really be careful like how it works back and forth. Like you can do both independently really well, I think, and then like not have them talk to each other properly.
Yeah, I think it looks interesting for sure. I think I'm gonna, depending on how much it costs, I might check it out. I mean, I'm not like crazy into the concept, but it looks like it could be fun. Well,
No,
I'll just wait for reviews to come out and see what
I
people
just
think
want more
about it.
Dungeon Keeper games. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, from what you said, I looked at it. I was like, I would be interested in the raiding aspect, and you would be
Yeah.
more interested in like the building aspect. I think.
Yeah, but I need something like keep me interested in like why am I building these sort of
Hmm.
things? Like not just oh people are gonna come play. I need like something else like to keep pushing me. Like I need a
What's
reason.
another game reminds me of that I love to play? Half Dead, which is just the film The Cube, where you just walk into rooms like deadly trapped, and then you're trying
Oh
to
yeah
avoid
yeah
them.
yeah
Yeah,
yeah. I can't try and remember which one it was.
I love that game, so that could be like really fun. I'll keep my eye on it. Interesting to see another game from Behavior because they don't make too many games. I mean, they did like a Warhammer MMO that they abandoned. They
Oh, was
did
that them?
they did like another Dead by Daylight game that they abandoned because no one played it. It was like Death Garden or something like that.
Right.
Death Garden Blood Harvest? Yeah, it was another like Dead by Daylight sort of game, but it was not. It was a multiplayer first-person shooter asymmetrical game, but it wasn't like horror-based, really. Another announcement that you'll probably be more interested in, Tony. Behavior Interactive. They've literally just released a Dead by Daylight dating sim called Hooked on
Oh
You.
my god. Right. Wait,
Yeah,
what's it called?
Hooked on You because as the killer you go and putting people into
Okay.
hooks.
Oh, I said hooked and I got hooked as or get hooked as a game
When
as
I
well.
told my friend Wave about the friend wheel, he said you need to play Dead by Daylight Hooked on You, the dating sim. And I was like, I don't own this game. I'm not buying it.
It's £7. Okay. I
£7
mean,
too
look to me,
expensive.
this is not to me. This is well worth the money. Oh, as long as it's long enough and like interesting, I suppose.
Yeah, I think I think it's funny that a game like this can exist. Like, I do think it's cool that they've taken the idea of like these horror killers and just gone, let's turn them into a dating sim. Let's see what happens. I think that is genuinely quite funny.
It's got 90% reviews by over 3,000 people, so
Really, that
that's
many
actually
people
pretty
have played
decent.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
That's like a lot of reviews and like
yeah.
metrics.
In more like 2 weeks.
Do you remember the Colonel Sanders the fucking dating
Yes.
sim?
Yeah, yeah, I do. I've seen all the scenes now.
Oh, you'd love to hear that. Let's have a look at the Steam page then. 3,000 very positive. Wow, maybe I should add this to my wishes. The thing is, I just hate dating stuff. So
The first not recommended review is no gay sex
that's
is
what I'm
shown.
reading.
Well, that's a negative, guys. Unfortunately.
Well, if you've seen some of the fan art for Dead by Daylight, I mean, there's what people want is more, gay sex in Dead by Daylight. I mean, that's
So there's like one legitimate reviews that they found the narrator really annoying and cringy. They want to be immersed. They don't want the dates.
One thing everybody always asks for. They want shirtless Michael Myers, but I'm assuming based on the screenshots, there is no franchise killers in there. I think it's only original characters from Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, I would say that normally like people that have the licenses like are very strict on what they want it to be, and then they're like having fun. They hate fun normally.
That's what I think would have
holders.
been a huge appeal of this game. Was like, hey, you can go on a date with Michael Myers, or you can go on a date with Ghostface from Wu-Tang Clan. That's a joke.
This is good. I don't know. I quite like. This is crazy to me. I quite like the concept's just so funny to me. Like I think it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous enough to work.
And then finally, we have another game from Behavior, which I just saw randomly. I was like, oh, they're also doing another game that's coming out next month called Flipping Misfits. This one I'm not sure on. This is a 2 to 4 player party brawler game. I think this is, considering that one of the games is a dating sim, still think this is probably their weakest showing. For me.
I don't. It's a 3D fighter and it's like tags. What does that mean?
I think it's meant to be like a party game sort of thing, where you go around bonking each other. I look at this game, and I immediately think it's trying to be Rocket League, like it's meant to be just or Smash Bros. It's meant to be like fast-paced, quick multiplayer fun. But then think of stuff like.
I'm getting Fall Guy vibes as well, like amongst all of those.
What's the name of that game? Dodgeball game on. What? I forgot. I'm completely blanking on the name of the game. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like the dodgeball. Lethal City? Well, Knockout City. I'm thinking of Knockout City when I look at this game, and I'm thinking...
Okay.
Like, Knockout City is a really fucking fun game, and I love that game.
Yeah.
But people just stop playing it.
I would say Knockout City looks better than this in terms of mechanics.
Yeah. I think Knockout City looks way better than this. But then I look at Knockout City and I see how many people are playing that, Tony. And I'm like looking at this game and I'm thinking, how many people are going to be playing this? Because it's like when Behavior has a game that doesn't perform well, they will just abandon it. Like they have historically abandoned stuff in the back, like Death Garden, like the weird Warhammer game they made. They will just say, fuck this, let's go make more DLC for Dead by Daylight. That's our cash cow. So I'm not putting a lot of stock into Flipping Misfits, but it's coming out next month. I'll have to see.
I didn't realize they did a surprise called Eternal Crusade. I didn't realize it was them who did it. Like, I didn't even realize that.
I didn't realize that until my friend Matt, who's into Warhammer, pointed it out to me. Oh, I didn't know. Let's move on to Blunders. Everyone loves the Blunders. EA says FIFA players actually love the game's loot boxes. Addicts love gambling. More news at 6.
Well, on a serious note, though, like I think there are a lot of addicts who like admit that addicts and like I wish I could stop, but like can't, sort of thing. Yeah. It's like that sucks, and I think that really does. And I was like, also, aren't there like actual gamblers who like have like weaned themselves off like real gambling in real life, and then like they then play like, oh, I want to play a fun football game, and then they find gambling mechanics inside of it. And it's like, oh no. So like it's really sad, the whole thing. It's definitely gambling. I don't care what the UK Gambling Commission or I can't remember what they call the Gambling Awareness.
Unity has signed a multi-million-dollar contract to help the US government with defense, whatever the fuck that means.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's just like help training people. Like I don't know if you've seen US. I think in the early 2000s that like. I swear it was like they wanted like it might not. I don't think it was Doom, but it was like something like Doom. They wanted like a Doom game to help more realistic to help them like understand certain like real life things you have to actually consider while you're like in combat. So I'm hoping it's something like that instead of like something menacing.
Yeah, apparently, like one of the ones we talked about before. Unity's board like just completely rejected one of the deals they tried to do. They were trying to.
Really?
Yeah, I'll try and find it.
I didn't realize that.
So Unity,
which one was that?
So they tried to partner up with AppLovin. AppLovin's made like a $20 billion unsolicited proposal to acquire Unity.
Right.
And the board was just systematically like, no, we don't want
this.
this.
We don't trust them.
Apparently, they approved the Iron Source one with the malware in it.
Yeah.
But they, when it came to AppLovin trying to buy Unity, they were like, nah, that's not for us.
To be fair, there's that kind of difference of like someone like they want to be like they want to like maintain a certain amount of thing if they get but like expanding what they buy is probably a different thing.
Sorry, I don't know if you've been reading the Sims 4 patch notes recently, but apparently there was a bunch of bugs with the Sims 4, including Sims would like randomly become younger or age dramatically when leaving Creator Sim or going to like different events. So you could literally create a sim
the world.
or reload the world, and one of your Sims would just die.
Yeah.
There was bugs with the Sims where they would like spread death plague like a virus. If one of them died and was near another Sim, that Sim would die. It would be like an actual fucking plague sort of thing.
Yeah. I swear there's been like massive like aging problems in like I think Sims 3 at one point had that at some point. Like I think it was like squashed pretty quickly.
Another one was apparently they accidentally added incest to the game, where two related Sims could woohoo with each other.
I didn't realize that. Okay.
So they've fixed that now. But dude, reading the Sims 4 patch, it's a fucking like, isn't it like 11 years old at this point? The Sims.
Yeah, when did it come ridiculously old.
I think it may be younger. Maybe it's like 9 years.
I'm thinking
8 years ago. 8 years ago.
Yeah.
It came out 8 years ago, so I'm like, they're still trying to. They're still releasing Sims 4 DLC. Like,
what I find crazy is that they're still releasing like DLC with features that I think should have been in the base game.
Yeah.
Like I just find it crazy like how slow they've been with some of these things.
I think it's just a case of the game is still popular and people are still willing to buy the DLC. Why would they?
Yeah.
Why would they get
DLC is stupendously expensive. It is not worth the price they sell it for. Like £34 for an expansion is.
There's still like a huge Sims 4 modding scene.
Oh yeah.
And apparently, the Sims 4 newest policy update means you can't paywall mods behind Patreon anymore, which initially led some Sims 4 mod creators to panic a bit. So
I don't know why they care so much though.
Because they don't want people profiting off their IP, I guess. Could technically be violating copyright in a legal grey area that nobody's going to defend because they can't afford to.
Yeah, the thing is their code though that they should get paid for. I don't know. I just find it funny that the people willing to nickel and dime people.
Did you see recently with like I think we even talked about last week the VR mods that got taken down by Rockstar Take-Two.
Yes.
Even though it was just they used zero code from the game. They just literally made a mod that allowed you to play it in VR.
Mm-hmm.
But EA added that creators are free to recoup their development costs by running ads on their websites to generate revenue and donations, just so long as whatever in-game content they create is not behind a paywall. And they said they will still let they will still let Patreon. People who run mod Patreons have an early access period where people get access to a mod for a certain amount of time before it's publicly released. I actually think this EA mod situation is pretty reasonable. That's
pretty reasonable, but I still feel like it's up to the mod creators still. I don't know. Yeah, it's still fine. I mean, it's how I would like release a mod is like expecting donations and things, but I know different people are different.
Well, the funny article says the Sims 4 modders have come under fire for abusing early access periods and keeping content paywalled for an unreasonable period of time. The Sims 4 community largely thought these methods were the reason for the EA's policy update. However, as of now, EA is permitting modders to keep monetizing their content via reasonable early access periods, donations, and advertising. It seems like if you're I don't know what EA considers reasonable. We'll just have to wait and see, won't we? For the
Well, hang on,
DMCA's.
can I just read what they said about FIFA? Give me a
What
second.
do they
What's
say about
reasonable?
FIFA?
Uh,
Well,
oh,
players actually love paywall mods that we get a cut off. So, apparently, rumor, speculation. Blizzard and NetEase have scrapped their World of Warcraft mobile game after a financing dispute. If you don't know, um, Blizzard has already made a mobile, or I don't think it's released yet, but it's been announced. They have a game called Arc Like Rumble, which is essentially a mobile Clash of Clan games, Warcraft game, which I think you can get on Battle.net as well. So they're doing the double dip like they did with Diablo Immortal, where you can play it on PC as
yeah.
well. Apparently, there was another mobile game in development through NetEase, and apparently they're having financial disputes. But apparently, Blizzard has reached out to Engadget to say Blizzard still has an extremely successful relationship with NetEase and said it was entirely untrue. There was no financial disagreements between the two companies. And there was no mention of a spin off or its current status. So that is either trying to stop the fire or it could literally just be made up. I believe it was from a Jason Schreier Bloomberg article, and Jason Schreier is like a known industry source guy. So I definitely believe this was true.
Yeah, he's trustworthy and he talks to real people from what in his past experiences. So yeah.
So I'm gonna go on the side of I believe that they're just trying to squash the fire when it comes to people going they're not having a good time in NetEase. A lot of people pointed out that it's interesting that Activision has a majority stake with Tencent, and Tencent does a lot of stuff with Activision, but Blizzard does a lot of stuff with NetEase, which is like a rival to Tencent. So it's like kind of interesting, even though like Activision Blizzard have merged into one company now.
Yeah, it's probably a confusing corporate mess.
Well, good luck, Microsoft. Speaking of Microsoft tech news, Microsoft has given the Xbox Series S devs more memory to improve graphics performance. So, the Xbox Series S only has 10 gigabytes of RAM,
which is shared like CPU and like graphics, right?
Yeah, compared to the Series X, which has, I believe it's 16 gigabytes of RAM. Developers had to work around with 8 gigabytes of RAM on the Series S because Microsoft reserves around 2 gigabytes for the OS, which meant it was a big constraint.
Like visual assets and things, and like 4K, right?
But the Microsoft's done like a patch now, so to the SDK and the development kit, which now allows developers to use more RAM, which should make the Series S even more powerful, which is pretty interesting to see because it's quite a good little capable like 1440p machine or like a retro emulation machine. I like the Series S. I think it's like a cool console.
It's a powerful little machine.
And then our last piece of tech news. LG plans to introduce a 20-inch OLED panel this year. This is very interesting because the smallest consumer OLED TV from LG currently measures 42 inches. So, like the current way, if you wanted to get an LG OLED, if you don't know, LG is the best OLED maker out there right now. I mean, you can get some cheap OLEDs from China, but quality is really going to vary.
Yeah, I think all the ones you buy like from a reputable source are like all LG panels. So.
But LG, because like I think I have a Dell monitor. Dell uses LG panels because they're that good.
Does even Sony even use LG panels?
I don't know. But if you wanted to get, basically, I've been saying for ages, the big upgrade for computer monitors is an OLED computer monitor. Because right now, if you want to, if you want to get a OLED computer monitor, you need to get like a 42-inch TV and just use it like an ultra wide, which a lot of people have been doing for the benefits of OLED. But I think like a smaller 4K monitor or a smaller even OLED 1440p monitor would be a really, really cool thing to have for PC gaming. I think that would look really, really good. Although I must point out, LG is introducing a 20-inch OLED panel. not a TV, not a monitor. So this isn't a consumer product that is
It's
going
the
to be
actual
out there
panel
now.
itself.
They are just
It's not just something
making
else.
a panel that will be 20-inch OLED. So we'll see
Presumably,
what
though,
manufacturers
they,
want to do with this, how it's implemented.
yeah. But
Hope,
presumably they have demand for this, though. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing
hopefully,
it.
we will see some OLED monitors coming out probably next year. I'm going to guess is when we might start to see some OLED monitors.
Yeah. I really hope like burn-in isn't a problem with like static HUD and like static screen elements. But
Yeah.
I think that like, it's not solved per se, but I feel like there's like more manageable ways of dealing with burn-in these days.
Yeah. So then we got our main news, which is THQ Nordic had a showcase this week. So we're going to be watching some game trailers from THQ Nordic, and then we're going to be ending it. So the first one up is SpongeBob SquarePants: The Cosmic Shake. We've talked about, I think it was like a tease reveal of there was going to be another SpongeBob game. So this is going to be a spiritual sequel to Battle for Bikini Bottom, Rehydrated, which is coming soon. TM. So Battle for Bikini Bottom was a remake of a old SpongeBob 3D platforming game, and SpongeBob SquarePants: The Cosmic Shake is going to be taking that format, that idea, and then updating it more for modern times, like a brand new game that isn't a remake of an older one, sort of thing. So
in the same vein.
I still have yet to play Rehydrated. It's on my list. Like, I love 3D platformers. I'm definitely going to get around to playing that at some point.
I'm surprised you haven't played it yet, to be honest.
No, the most recent 3D platformer I played was Hellfire, and that's fucking sick. So
yeah, that's a modern game. Christ.
But yeah, the gameplay and stuff looks really cool. Like the fact that it's SpongeBob going around like Patrick is your little like mascot companion. I think is like a really cool idea.
Yeah.
It's always cool to see more like 3D platformers because there has been a cool revival of them, but we definitely still need more. And this looks really high quality and really fun. So
yeah, 100%.
Definitely gonna have to check that out. Alone in the Dark. So Alone in the Dark is a OG survival horror game that predates even Resident Evil. As like one of the first survival horror games, sort of thing. I definitely wanted to meet this trailer because they're doing like a remix of House of the Rising Sun right now, and I heard that and I was like, oh, we cannot play the music for that.
Yeah.
I've never played Alone in the Dark, the original. Came out a long time ago from Pieces Interactive.
I assume this is based upon the original, not like the awful, slightly more modern one.
I believe it is. I don't.
It looks like it.
Alone in the Dark's come back with a completely original story, so I don't think it's a remake, but it is coming back from the writers of Soma, which is like a really, really highly regarded like narrative horror game. Just looking at the creature design and like the puzzles and stuff, I'm getting huge Resident Evil vibes from this. But obviously, my frame of reference is I have never played Alone in the Dark, this
it's like a weird like alternate. I don't really understand it entirely because I've never like properly looked at the old stuff or like the probably played the more modern because it wasn't that great. But like there's like another like I don't know like dimension like coming into like this one or something, and it's like the darkness was like your enemy. But I don't know any more than like that like vague premise.
But yeah, it looks pretty interesting. I can't wait to try it out.
I would say now, like it looks really good. Like even like the puzzle stuff we saw quickly in that trailer, like looked like decent.
Well, as someone who's played like the Resident Evil remasters recently and really fucking enjoys them, I'm like, damn, this looks like something I would really enjoy.
It looks more like that, but even more horror.
Next up, we have Recreation. From Three Fields Entertainment. If you don't know Three Fields Entertainment, they're a studio of former Criterion devs. If you don't know Criterion, they were the devs who originally made Burnout series, one of the best racing series of all time.
Yeah, they're the good devs.
And as I recently discovered, they also invented the Renderware engine, which is a really interesting story. If you look up the Renderware engine on YouTube, there's a video recently that's really interesting. Renderware, the engine that powered an error. where the renderware engine was basically like early. It wasn't even designed for games. It was like an early CGI, like playing this trailer. What's the next one? It was like an early like CGI thing, and it got moved to games. And the benefit of it was really easy to make cross-platform for different systems, and it was easy to basically write in sort of thing. But it wasn't as powerful as having your own engine. It was a bit slower, but like pretty much every single PS2 game was made in the renderware engine. I think the reason we have Burnout was because the people who made renderware Criterion, they started making games, and they were like, they wanted to make games to showcase the renderware engine, and then one of the games they made was so popular that they kept making them, which was the Burnout series, which is where like Burnout comes from the renderware engine, which is like it's an interesting story. Watch the YouTube video from Retro Histories if you're interested in that sort of thing. I think it's like super interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Recreations coming from former Criterion devs. Oh, another thing I wanted to point out quickly. Do you know what happened to renderware and why nobody uses it anymore?
It died.
How did it die?
EA killed it.
EA bought it, and then they killed it.
Yeah.
They bought Criterion. A lot of people assumed because they wanted to use the renderware engine as their proprietary engine. Well, guess what happened? They tried to make renderware their proprietary engine. It didn't work. The project died. They tried to make Frostbite their proprietary engine that they use over all their titles over EA. It didn't work. It died. They tried I think Unreal Engine 3 succeeded renderware, but it's interesting. Like in an alternate universe, renderware could have been like the next Unreal Engine. Like seriously, it's so interesting. Like what happened to it, basically. Anyway, I'm completely waffling. This is like Trackmania mixed with Burnout, what it looks like. This looks really fucking cool.
It looks really kinetic, actually.
So you have the weird go wherever the fuck you want and really weird ramps of like Trackmania, and then you have the actual bash into people and destroy cars of Burnout style from the original devs of Burnout. I'm just like, damn, this looks like it could be really, really fun. So definitely going to check this one out when it comes out. Jagged Alliance 3. It's a turn-based tactics, the XCOM style. I put this one in. Just I thought you might be interested in this. Apparently the previous Jagged Alliance ones they've done since the original haven't been too good, but we'll have to see how this one turns out.
I think it's when I was looking at. I think I was looking at recently. The second one is like people are like, "Oh, just play the first one."
Yeah,
because the second one is more like a puzzle game instead of like a tactical game. So that's interesting.
Oh, so so are you saying the idea is it's more of there's one way to solve it rather than
people complain there's like only one way to really solve things and it didn't feel like an XCOM
just
game.
You go into the game and you just randomly
whereas the first game was like an XCOM game, but I don't think it was ever advertised as that. Like I don't think they were meant to have done that. I think they were just like kind of like mismanaged like how they managed the levels and things.
Right. But yeah, this one looks pretty interesting if you like that XCOM style game.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to try an XCOM game again.
I've got an XCOM game I need to play called Mechanicus. So
okay, well there it is.
I need to play the demo of the other game they're making. Is
Mechanicus the Warhammer one?
Yeah.
Okay. Next up we have Space for Sale, Tony. Another one for you. A colony sim. So you build your own solar system and build homes for your alien clients on exotic planets. Explore different worlds, gather resources, and tame flora and fauna on various procedurally generated planets. I thought this one...
Spore 2.
I thought this one might be okay for me because it's from like a third-person perspective. It sort of reminded me more of like Astroneer sort of game, where you sort of walk around placing stuff. I was like, I don't know what it is. Sometimes I feel like I can get more into management games when I'm in like a first-person or third-person perspective. I don't know why.
If you're controlling an actual individual.
It's like
It is different. I will say it is very like when you make a game like that compared to the one without it, like you do get very different games.
Yeah, because like I love Satisfactory, and that's first person, but I feel like I don't know. I haven't tried Factorio, but I don't know if I'd like Factorio. I don't know.
I would say like something maybe like similar, but like maybe it's a little bit too different. But like something like Anno, where like you don't control any single person.
I feel like I need that connection to one thing to keep me grounded in the game. Because if you just when you start to get all the different stuff going off at once, that's when I'm like, having it from a fixed perspective helps me concentrate on one thing at a time. Right. That may be what it is for me. I don't know.
Yeah. That's definitely a big thing about it.
Yeah, that looks interesting.
I think for me, I like both a lot. I'm glad we're getting more. This is good.
And then finally we have Outcast 2. So this is basically Legend of the Ulukai. So Outcast, if you don't know, is Outcast pioneered the genre of non-linear open world games. It's like one of the first like big open world games that came out. It came out in 1999. It's considered a cult classic. It's a third-person open world action-adventure sequel to the original from 1999. I don't know much about the original Outcast, really, other than...
I've heard of it. I don't know anything.
Other than it was a big, impactful game in the pioneering the open world game genre. I think this looks cool. I think it's awesome that, again, I always say this, like, embrace the THQ Nordic. Pretty much they just go, hey, here's a franchise that hasn't been touched in 20 years. Let's make a new game and see what happens.
Let's give it to a developer we have underneath us. Here, have this. Yeah, like what you should be doing with your licenses and not just sitting on them. Yeah.
But this looks like it could be really fun. It seems like it's like a spacey game when you go around, adventure game. It looks like it could be fun. Obviously, we don't see too much gameplay. It seems like there's a lot of shooting in it. A lot of action.
I'll say the traverse reminds me a lot of like Anthem, but with more stuff to do. But once you stop reversing.
Man, I feel like you're like disrespecting a game when you compare it to Anthem. Just in
no. Well, yeah, to a point, yeah. But and I was like, the only good thing about Anthem was like its reversal. That was the only good thing.
But yeah, this looks like it could be fun. Obviously, we don't have like full gameplay, at least from what I've seen, so I have to keep an eye on that one. So let's move on to the Molydeux tweet, and then we'll end the podcast. Imagine a game that allows the player to decide where the game ends. Now imagine, in addition to that, if the game also allowed the player to decide when the game begins. That's revolutionary.
Isn't that all game?
Tony, don't be asking these questions.
Actually, I decide when a game begins.
Tony, don't we always decide when a game begins and when it ends? We just don't know it yet.
Maybe I feel like I did know it, I just didn't need to name it.
Maybe the game that I need to design, I've already designed. I just don't know it yet.
Can you imagine like people? I'm thinking of a game, these game mechanics, but then I've already made it. It's called Fable.
There it is.
Just play Fable.
Check us out and Everything Between podcast on YouTube if you want to watch the VODs. Twitch.tv/Scorn if you want to watch live, and Scorn2000 on Twitter if you want to follow me for some reason. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.